Every operation, if you look around the world today, where the American people have committed soldiers, combat operations, peacekeeping, peace support missions, guerrilla insurgency kind of fights, humanitarian relief, humanitarian support, all those operations, their mission success depend on boots on the ground.
Soldier's just a regular guy that's willing to pay just a little bit more for his freedom and willing to do a little bit more for other people's freedom.
We're raised in the same small town, born and raised there, never left, never went anywhere. He joined the military a year after he graduated high school. You know, we were really just kids then.
They're no different than the Joe or the Jane that grew up with them, but they have done something else that most of the Americans don't do. They stepped forward, raised their hand, taken an oath of office to their country.
I've pledged my loyalty, my oath to the nation. I cannot tell you the pride that is instilled in that statement.
They're terrific fighters, and there is a sense of personal courage, teamwork, and initiative that many of us think distinguishes them when you look back over the 200-plus years of our history.
Putting boots on the ground is nothing new. The Army's been doing this for over 230 years. Putting boots on the ground and making a difference.
I am a veteran of all three wars. I go when they call me.
The days of my father and my grandfather going off to fight a war and returning home to flags and parades and going back to civilian life, that's not what this war is all about. It's being fought by long service professionals dedicated to the profession of arms, willing to treat service in the American Army as a lifelong career choice and a commitment.
We send 19 and 20-year-old young men and young women too these days out there, and we expect them to work miracles. We expect them to stand on a police checkpoint and keep the peace between two peoples who want to kill each other. And here's this kid, and he's going to make life and death decisions. And usually he makes the right ones.
It's a war in which the human element prevails over the technological element. It's a war that's going to be won by our ability to influence the will of other people. It's not about applying technology to the battlefield. It's about using technology as a tool. But ultimately, the instrument of power in wars in this century is the human being. It's a soldier. It's boots on the ground.
It only took a day for us to realize that this was not the movie. It wasn't a game. People didn't get up at the end of the day and go home.
It is a life of unbelievable physical challenge and misery, of rain and hunger and thirst and physical danger.
The first round gets shot at you, you do kind of step back and go, whoa, that was coming at me.
You know that the possibility is there, and it's very real, but it's always going to be the next guy.
We got 18, 19, 20-year-old kids here that have seen death, on a daily basis. You never know when it's going to be your time. It can happen in a blink of an eye.
Man, I think I'm hit.
He was always here for us. If he wasn't at work, he was here. He was there for his soldiers, even on the day he left for Iraq. He wasn't supposed to go until 1 o'clock, and 10:30 rolled around and we'd already gotten 6 phone calls from his soldiers, and he's like, "I'm sorry, honey, I have to go."
It was maybe 5 or 10 minutes till 10. The morning of Sunday, April the 9th, we were going to relieve another squad of soldiers at an intersection in the city of Ramadi, and we never made it there. We were maybe 50 to 100 meters from the intersection, and we got hit by an IED. I've never met a better leader, a better NCO than Sergeant Emerson. He cared about his soldiers more than anything. It was really hard losing a friend that close.
He just seemed invincible. So now that he's not here, it's kind of a shock.
I don't think people do comprehend the sheer terror of war, the fear of war, and the enormous suffering that goes on. Different name of the war, but the same brutality, the same suffering. No one understands without having gone through it.
Soldiers don't want to die. But what makes them different and special is that they're willing to. They do it for one another. And they do it out of a profound yet simple sense of duty.
Guy comes walking in, walking a little funny. Why is he walking funny? What happened? Well, I lost a leg. Oh, well, what can I do for you? I'll re-enlist. Where do we find people like that?
The soldiers we send into the field today really project America's values. They go into the worst sort of situations all around the world.
The soldier of my time had a mission to look for the enemy and destroy the enemy. But today, our military has everything from setting up school buildings, opening up classrooms, or providing health care. And all of this is necessary in order to maintain stability, which is so important to our nation.
Soldiers continually tell me how diverse their missions are. On the one hand, a young man or woman could be serving in Iraq, next year in Afghanistan, the year after that in Hurricane Katrina.
When diplomatic means and political means fail, it's the United States military, led by the United States Army, that put boots on the ground. And when the American soldier hits the ground, the world knows that we are serious about our objectives.
My proudest moment in the Army was in late January 2004 when we watched the Iraqis conduct their very first free elections.
My proudest moment in the Army was when I returned from Iraq, because I had all 301 soldiers we got back.
The proudest moment of my service was when we got to go down and help the citizens of New Orleans. Tons and tons of people thanking me and hugging me, and you know, they're so appreciative because their world was completely turned inside out, and it's something that you can't explain to someone that didn't experience it.
And one lady shook my hand and she said, "Thank you." She said, "I don't know your name. I don't need to know your name." She said, "The uniform speaks alone."
I think the Army uniform is more than just a symbol of the military. People see the Army uniform as a sign of relief, a sign of help, and a sign of safeguard.
that boils down to a handful of U.S. soldiers on a road junction up on a red light. It's raining, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're being asked to move forward while machine gun rounds slap by their ears. We're never going to get away from that.
When the Air Force flies over, it's important. It's a show of force. When the Navy steams up, it's important. It's a deterrent. When the Army plants its boots on the ground, it's control.
When we're overseas, when we're in Iraq, we think about those moments, what it was like at Normandy, what was it like at Bastogne, what was it like at Sicily, Salerno. These things inspire us to do our duty in our time.
And it's our responsibility to make sure that they're properly equipped and they're trained and they're properly paid to perform this very, very difficult task.
Then you got to be ready. You got to have everything together, because you don't know when that phone call comes.
If you don't have the boots on the ground, walking the streets, you're not going to hold that ground.
I think there was just an inner drive for him to be the best American soldier that you could possibly be. He didn't want anything in return. He just wanted to serve.
Thank God we've got young soldiers with the physical courage, the training, and the initiative to stand up and defend America in these kinds of situations.
You put your best foot forward and you keep going, and that would be your boots on the ground.